So I want to give some context for this video. I don't strictly need to, like this isn't crucial information that you need to know to understand what's going on in the video or what I'm talking about. But I want to. I want to give context on this because it's an entertaining little story thing. So I had a really weird day on Saturday. There was a video that I made 5 years ago in 2013 where I talked about a book by a guy called Barrie, which was called There Must Be More to Life Than This. It wasn't a review because I hadn't read it. I say in the video that I haven't read the book and that, you know, it's not really a topic that interests me, and so I'm essentially just saying if this is a topic that interests you, then you should go out and buy it and read it, but I personally haven't. I did eventually obtain a copy of it. A friend of mine gave me a copy and I did read it, and it was really good because even though it is a Christian book and I am not a Christian and I already wasn't a Christian at that point, Christianity and belief and faith is very much something that I'm interested in like academically and culturally, and so I did read it and it was really good and entertaining, and so to review it 5 years later it's really good and you should get it. But the guy who wrote it, Barrie, I touched on this kind of briefly in my video on There Must Be More to Life Than This, but I want to go into a little more now. When I was a kid, I had this really close friend. He was like my best friend for about 7-8 years maybe, and his name was Cameron, and we got along really well, and his granddad was Barrie, and Barrie for a while when I was younger was my dentist. I can't remember how long for or how old I was, but he was my dentist for a long time. And we knew him really well, we knew his family really well because they go to the same church as my mum, and I kind of was brought up around them and I knew them really well and blah blah blah, you know, standard childhood friends stuff. And then in 2013, Cameron, my friend, revealed to me that his granddad Barrie had written a book, and so I thought that was really interesting. And because when I was doing YouTube videos back then, I was trying to do one a day, and I had no ideas. I did not know what video I should make, and so having not read this book and not really even having any interest in the book, I just made a 2.5 minute video that was like, hey, this book exists, and if it's something that interests you, then you should go out and buy it. I should have probably waited until after I'd read the book to, you know, make a video about it, because again, it wasn't a review, but sure, whatever. But anyway, right after this video was made, Cameron and I kind of just stopped talking. Like we didn't have like a falling out. We didn't like have a big argument or anything. We just kind of stopped talking to each other, you know, in the way that sometimes happens. And then he went away to uni, and then after that, a year later, I came off to uni. So we're doing totally separate things now. We haven't spoken in about 5 years. We haven't really had any contact since shortly after I made that video, so I haven't really seen or spoken to him since about 2013. And in that same vein, I haven't really seen or spoken to Barrie in about the same amount of time. I haven't seen him or spoken to him that I can recall in about 5 or 6 years. So Saturday rolls around, Saturday in March 2018, and I go to leave to hang out with a friend, and there's a package addressed to me, and it's from Barrie. So my initial, you know, reaction to this was, how did he get my address? I mean, I'm sure he asked my mum. Like, that's pretty easy. He knows my mum really well. He was probably just like, hey, where does your kid live? But yeah, because I haven't seen him in so long, I was like, what? How does he know where I live? And then my second question was, what could he possibly have sent me? And it was a copy of a book that he's written, which I'll talk about in a second when I get to review it. And I was like, oh, okay. I didn't really look at it. I just put it on my desk and left because, like I said, I was going out to meet a friend. But when I got back, I was like, oh, you know, I might read it eventually. I might have a quick flick through it. I might have a glance. Maybe not. I don't really know. But then I opened it, and on the inside of it, not only has he written me a little, I don't know if that's even visible, but not only has he written me a little note saying, to my friend Tom, YouTuber and reviewer extraordinaire. Incredible. And then he signs it off with best wishes from the Tooth Sleuth, which is a delight, honestly. I love that. But also on the inside was this folded up piece of paper, which I opened, and it is a letter that he typed out and sent to me on the 26th of March 2018. He wrote me this letter. I made an initial foray into YouTube last night and was amazed to find you reviewing my first book. Again, wasn't really a review, but I know what he's talking about, obviously. I am new to YouTube and loved the review. You were so at home and natural with what you said. I try. I certainly try. Fantastic stuff. I'm enclosing my latest book as a thank you. I'm not looking for a review. Well, you got one. I'm not looking for a review, but hoping you might enjoy it. It's not Christian, except inasmuch as I am a Christian and write as such, and people tell me that my dental, autobiographical and anecdotal stuff is humorous. Oh yeah, it's about being a dentist. It's about dentistry. I should have probably said that before. Anyway, no pressure to read it, but I would like you to have it. All my other books are reviewed at the back of it. And then there's a little bit about how he started a YouTube channel where he's putting up a few videos about various things. One of his most recent video is about the book. I found his channel and it has 0 subscribers on it, and most of his videos have like 1 or 2 views. And so I will put a link to his channel in the description. It is largely a Christian channel where he talks about being a Christian, essentially. So I'm not subscribed to him. I'm subscribed, but I don't really watch his videos that much. I know I don't have like an internet presence. I know I only have like just over 100 subscribers, but if that's a thing that interests you, then his channel is available and you can go and you can check it out. You can have a look at some of his videos, whatever. Then he calls my video inspiring, which is nice and arguably incorrect. But yes, the book, it is called Licensed to Drill, Dentist on the Loose, and it is the 3rd book that he has written about being a dentist. It's the 3rd autobiographical, anecdotal sort of non-fiction book that he's written about being a dentist. I haven't read the other ones. The only other book that I've read by him was There Must Be More to Life Than This, but I read that a long time ago and I only read it one time, and I can't really remember what the content was like. I can just remember quite enjoying it and finding it academically interesting. As you can probably tell by the title, it's very much sort of James Bond sort of parody themed, which I think is great, because I recently realised that I haven't really watched any of the classic James Bond films. I realised about 2 weeks ago that I'd only seen the new ones. And so I torrented and watched all of them. And some of them are very bad, and some of them are rather good. I haven't read any of the books, which is a shame, but I should get around to doing that. So to then, 2 weeks later, receive this James Bond parody book about dentistry by a guy who used to invade my mouth, it was great. I loved it. But yeah, it's this James Bond parody sort of thing, so some of the chapters are things like Shaken Not Stirred, Golden Tooth, On Her Majesty's National Health Service is a pretty good, pretty sick title for a chapter. I like it a lot. I didn't really know what to make of this before I'd read it. I did not really expect to enjoy it, because with the other book, with There Must Be More to Life Than This, I wasn't a Christian. It was not a topic that I found that engaging, but it's something that I was very interested in academically. It was something that I read up on a lot. It's something that I'm still very much engaged in educating myself on. Whereas dentistry isn't one of those things. It's not something that I go out of my way to read about or to research or to look into, because I have no interest in being a dentist, and because the lives of dentists isn't really a thing that I thought would be interesting or entertaining. But this is essentially just like a big collection of stories from 40 years of being a dentist. Part of the back, part of the blurb says, read just what really goes on at times behind the doors of a dental practice. 3 patients fled, one with the dentist in hot pursuit. Fruit pastels were laced with anaesthetic, and on one occasion, a dangerous mongoose escaped from its cage in the car park. And so much more. I love it. One of the reviews by Ian Clark of the Eastern Daily Press just says, Barrie Lawrence is no average author. And that is all it says. There is another review that is, you know, a little more specific and a little longer, but the Barrie Lawrence is no average author one, I just love, because that could mean he's below average, it could mean he's above average, it doesn't really mean anything, so I really love that. But no, this book is really entertaining, I really like it a lot. Something that Barrie said in his video on it was that if you find his speaking voice to be boring or annoying, then you're not going to enjoy how this is written, and if you think that his voice is entertaining or at least not boring and annoying, then you're probably going to not be irritated with this book, you're probably going to enjoy reading it a lot more, and I would agree with that. So what I would suggest is, if you do want to read it, I would go to his channel first and watch at least like 1 or 2 of his videos so that you can get an idea for how he speaks and what he's like. And if you don't like it, don't read the book, and if you're into it, then read the book. But no, this is basically entertaining as hell. This is essentially just a really interesting guy with a good writing voice, a good speaking voice, writing about being a dentist in a way that is tongue-in-cheek and funny and actually makes dentistry sound kind of interesting. I think one of the reasons that it's so interesting is because it's not just, here's an account of all of the things that happened when I was a dentist and things that dentists got up to. I mean, especially given that it has like the James Bond sort of link / theme makes it more interesting. Like, he makes a lot of James Bond comparisons. There's an entire section where he talks about Blofeld. It's really cool. I like it a lot. I mean, it's not perfectly written. So you know, there are typos in places. There's like punctuation errors in 1 or 2 parts. I can't really complain about that because, like I was saying in one of my more recent videos, my book also has typos in it. So it would be very hypocritical of me to say that that was a bad thing. But no, it's really good. It's really entertaining. I don't know how much my perspective on it is skewed by the fact that it's written by someone that I know. You know, if I was reading this objectively without knowing the author and without knowing his grandson and without all of the history, then I don't know how much I would enjoy it. But from my very subjective point of view, I thought it was really good. I thought it was really enjoyable, and I would recommend it. You don't have to be interested in dentistry, obviously, because I'm not interested in dentistry, and I really enjoyed it. There are parts where he talks about how he's a Christian and how God and Jesus have played a part in his life, which, again, is not really something that I'm into, not really something that I'm interested in, but the parts where Christianity do come into play in here are very short, very brief, and they don't take you out of it at all. They're not distracting, they're not annoying. And to be fair, I expected it, because I know him, I know he's a Christian, and of course, if you're writing from a perspective informed by Christianity and informed by, you know, decades of being an evangelical Christian, then it's gonna play a part in your writing. It's gonna make an appearance here or there. So it wasn't annoying, and I did expect it, and I was fine with it. But yeah, you don't have to be interested in Christianity. You don't have to be interested in, you know, religion or faith or any of that. You don't have to be interested in dentistry. If you want just a fun time, if you want to read a book that is interesting and written in like a nice little, like a witty, sort of clever, interesting way, then read it. So I would recommend reading this. I'll put a link to his channel, like I said, in the description, and I'll also put a link to this on Amazon in the description. And something that I didn't do with my last video was put a link to There Must Be More to Life Than This. So there'll be 3 links in the description, his channel and then both of those books. So yeah, go out, watch some of his videos, read this, and watch Wonder Woman.